All right, what's up? What's up? Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to join. We're doing a special episode. This evening. If you saw the flyer, you know what the topic is already. But I'm gonna give people a few minutes to join in before we get started. Let me invite a couple people first. We need some music in the background. Let me see. Hello, hello. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let me invite a few people, share this video, and invite your friends. It's going to be a great discussion. All right. Hey, Amy, we got my Amy on here. She always faithfully join our live videos. Mom, if you want to go in and invite some more people.
I got you.
All right, y'all, let's get started. So this evening, we wanted to just do a special episode about the significance of a healthy brother-sister relationship. And y'all know we usually only expose their amazing on Fridays, but I'm here in Arizona. I get to spend some time with my family and my brother, so I said, why not? And my mom gave me this awesome idea of coming on here and just having a conversation with my brother. You want to introduce yourself? I call him Juice. But this is Keith, everybody. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Keith, and I'm supporting my sister because I think she's amazing. So I figured, she granted me the opportunity to partake in her situation here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here with her.
Thank you. I appreciate you. So I want to ask like a few questions, but I want y'all also as the audience to be engaged in this conversation. If you have an older brother or if you're a sibling, you have a younger sister, engage in this conversation, ask questions, give us feedback, share your thoughts with us so we can kind of know what y'all are thinking and we'll share our perspective. So I want to start with the question, Juice. What do you feel like is the impact of a healthy brother-sister relationship? What's the impact on that sister's life and that brother's life?
Well, from a brother's perspective, it's like the next stage over from father and a daughter relationship. I think that brother and a sister relationship is a serious relationship. I mean, because when you're coming up as siblings together, you have you have parenthood, and then right up under that you got the brother and sister thing. And it's sometimes in situations a sister might not be comfortable coming to a father, but might feel more comfortable coming to a brother. And vice versa. A brother might not feel comfortable coming to a parent, but might need his sister to have his back. You know how it is coming up with your siblings. So that's a plus there. It's just a comfort zone. It's an age gap, a significant age gap between my sister and I. Entirely different, came up under the same household, but it was time different time, you know what I mean? But the connection, just because times are different and it's a gap, it really don't take away from the relationship. So I feel like brothers can offer a lot to their sisters, and sisters can offer a lot to their brothers, because sisters, they overprotective over their brothers just as the brothers are overprotective of their sisters. And you want to set good examples for them, and you want to give them advice that can help steer them in the right direction through life, help them navigate through situations. As a male, you coming off with a male perspective of some of your experiences and some of the things you've witnessed, that you might want to give the knowledge to your sister to look out for, things like that. And then a sister might come from a young lady's perspective and give you insight on things that they probably would like for you to avoid or just handle in a different way. So it's a great exchange, and it's a wonderful opportunity if there's a healthy relationship there. Because even not in our situation, but it's some situations where the parents aren't always available or weren't ever available, and some people only have their siblings to rely on. You got those type of situations.
Yeah.
And that's where it would be important for brothers and sisters to, have a healthy relationship.
That's a really good point. And as you were talking, I was just thinking, like, because I have two older brothers. I'm the youngest of four of us. And I feel like if I didn't have the example of my brothers in my life, I wouldn't be able to navigate relationships with males. I feel like it helped me see the good and the bad. It helped me to understand, like, oh, I have brothers. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I understand things from a different perspective. I see it firsthand. Like he said, is, you know, you have that relationship with your father, but it's different, I feel like, with your brothers. You get a more honest, raw idea of what it is to have interactions with males, because you see, like, your older brothers, and obviously they're closer in age to you than a father would be. You get to see what that relationship is like, watching their relationships. And if you have a nurturing, healthy relationship with your brothers, you're able to set the bar high, or set the bar and have standards for what it's going to be like when you are in a relationship. I want to get some of these comments in. I can't really see what y'all saying. Let me get closer. Natural Beauty, thank you. Glad I tuned into Facebook at this time. Your daughter is so beautiful. Thank you. Alrighty, so if y'all have any questions as y'all watching, and if you just joined, we're talking about the significance of a healthy brother-sister relationship. And so far we've kind of talked about that impact on a sister's life when they have a healthy relationship with their brother. So before I continue with my questions, you got any questions, Juice?
No, I don't necessarily have any questions at this time.
Okay. You got any questions, Mom?
I do have questions. I always have questions. I'm going to ask the question of how do you want different things for your sister based on your experience, and with the reality that you know that they have to go through the same growing pains as any young woman. So how is that balancing act with helping them to navigate reality, but at the same time trying to be the big brother and be protective? So how, as a big brother, do you balance that?
How do I balance
The reality versus that protectiveness.
I mean, my reality is to protect, so it's pretty much balanced there. I'm a pretty straight up and down individual. I pretty much keep it real. Because my sisters are very intelligent, so they're aware of lots of things. And I just give them, well, that's an interesting question, actually, because you have the reality of yourself and your lifestyle and your life that you live. But even as parents, brothers, sisters, you have your life, and then what you have going on for yourself don't necessarily mean you may want that going on for your kids or your sisters or brothers, your siblings. So what you have to do is you have to open yourself up and explain, because you can't tell them, stay away from this, don't ever be around this, you can't say don't, no, and then they're witnessing something else over here. Mm-hmm. Because then what you'll be doing is you'll be confusing them. Mm-hmm. And if you leave them in a state of confusion, then you're just as guilty as the party that may mislead them. So you have to be careful not to mislead them. So what you have to do is you have to first basically expose yourself and confess and explain your own behaviors and actions, and not justify them, but inform. Just let them know, yeah, this is this, and this is why this is this. It's not an excuse for it, but you just let them know. So then once they know, then you can let them know, this is why I can let you know why this over here is not what's going on.
Right.
You want to gesture?
We're going to have to put this on the charger in a little bit.
You let them know that this is not what's going on because of your experiences. Sometimes experiences aren't always bad. It's firsthand knowledge.
Yeah, right.
So that's what experience is. So that's kind of what makes you an expert. And that's another difference in some cases between a brother and a father, because a father may not have experienced some of the things that a brother did experience.
Mm-hmm.
So as a brother, you can let your little sister know, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah. So no, that's one example. As far as the balance, it's a two-way street, because when you coming up as a young man, you know, you just you full of life, and you full of some of the examples you've seen, and you just really just running with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you become a brother, which means you have little sisters or a little brother, you have to set an example, and that that creates a balance in itself. It makes you look at situations differently. It makes you look like, okay, I have a little sister, so this young lady probably has a brother also.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it makes you look at situations differently. Like if you see a situation, and because you have a little sister, you might approach that situation entirely different. Like, I wouldn't want my little sister being approached like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just helpful. You know what I mean? It's something you could grow from on both ends. The sister can grow, the brother can grow, the younger brother can grow, the older sister, because it could be vice versa. It could be an older sister with a younger brother. In our situation, I'm the big brother. This is my little sister, but it's an exchange, a healthy exchange all the way around the board. It's an educational experience, and it's just good to have a open communication with your siblings. I mean, me, I grew up fairly quickly. I had more hands-on experience with my older sister. By the time my younger sister was born, I was really running fast, you know what I'm saying, out there. But it didn't take away from our connection, because that connection is just kind of an unspoken thing. I just believe that my younger sister understood where I was always coming from, you know. She always known, every time we linked up, every time we came across one another, I always expressed my overall feelings towards her, and just what I want from her and what I don't want from her. You know what I'm saying? So those expressions, I feel, help lay the guidelines for where our relationship would be, you know. And it's just, we could talk about anything at any given point in time, you know. So it's just important to have that type of relationship with your siblings.
I agree with everything that has been said so far. I want to make sure we're not missing any questions or comments. My brother is such a provider. Guys these days believe in the 50-50 model. I have a hard time balancing that because I'm old school with my perspective. You have any thoughts about that?
About the 50-50 model?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming is that like the man provides half, the woman provides half? Is that what that means?
That's a good question. So if y'all can let us know, let me see who asked that. Laria put that in the comments. So if you can elaborate for us a little bit more so we can speak on that, that would be helpful. My auntie said, do you feel like brothering is a lot like fathering?
Yeah, I do. I believe it has similarities. I really do believe that. I do believe that. Yeah, I do believe that.
Mm-hmm. And I would say from a sister perspective, I feel like I view it as almost like, because like I had this expectations, and like just like I would have a standard for a relationship, I somewhat have those standards for my brothers. In my head, I find myself setting expectations like, if I don't hear from them in this amount of time, I'm gonna start like feeling some type of way or whatever. And that's just like if you were preparing yourself to be in a relationship, you have those standards for your brothers. And a lot of it comes from the way you grew up. And if you grow up and have a close relationship with your siblings, you kind of set those standards from a young age, and you continue to like have those expectations of your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make some additional comments here about this. No, I don't want to say that. I just want to say that I think it is so important that as parents that we are very intentional on making sure that the brother's role is to be that of a protector. And I can honestly say that my sons understood that as being an expectation for their sisters. There was a pretty significant age gap, so the level of protection was already pretty intrinsic. But what I know to be true is that the brother and the father sets the tone around expectations on what that young girl will experience in her intimate partner relationship. It's everything from opening the door to saying how you doing and the proper greeting, those little things that we may take for granted. I think when that expectation is set by the brothers, that when that young lady start entering into the dating scene, she's going to be more likely to have that expectation and that standard set. So I've never taken that lightly because my father was such a protector. I had cousins that I had that was almost like brothers to me. I had uncles. I don't care what they did in the street. When it came to my sister and I, they were very protective. So I just think that relationship is so priceless if it's respected, if it's respected properly.
I agree with that.
So give me some examples. Give our audience some examples about some things that about the standards. What if you have that brother-sister relationship, and how do you keep it relevant if there is a big age difference?
That's a good question. Sorry, y'all. Let me fix the camera real quick. Technical difficulties. That should be good.
Now y'all crooked. That ain't good.
Yeah, that should be good. You said something that I want to touch on. The expectations, and our brothers set the standard. Like, for me, my brothers have never disrespected me. I've never like I know siblings fight and stuff like that, but I've never even had that kind of relationship with my brothers. Like, they treat my sister and I like we're queens. So I would look so crazy to walk into a relationship where I don't have those same expectations for a guy that I'm involved with. And so because that was set for me at a young age, because my brothers always when we walk up into a room, we're acknowledged, we're treated very respectfully. And so when I have ever been in a relationship or had to deal with any guys, I naturally have the expectation that my brothers treat me like a queen. My dad respects me all the time, so I expect the same from you. So that's what I wanted to say about what you said, because that is so, so true. That standard set by our brothers definitely impacts the way we accept or don't accept things in a relationship. But it's so interesting, though, because people, based on their environment and their situations, they can either go the path of the environment or they can choose another route. And so it kind of depends on your mindset. You have to have a strong mind, and knowing that even if your situation, and you weren't blessed with a situation such as mine where my brothers did show me a lot of respect, if you weren't blessed with that, it's up to you to decide and shift that mindset that I know this wasn't right for me, so I'm going to make sure, if you have children and you want to show them how to respect their younger siblings or anything like that, it's up to you to make sure you make that happen, regardless of the situation that you had.
That's good.
And a lot of our experiences are for us to learn from and do better. So I think that's very important. Somebody said we have the Big Brother, Big Sister program, but what are your thoughts on girls having chosen big brothers, those not connected by blood? Many girls don't have brothers. Oh, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
I think that as long as those individuals that are chosen are standing up to the role of a big brother, I don't find anything wrong with that. I mean, because blood doesn't necessarily make it, I mean, if it's about what you're bringing to the table. So if somebody could be that figure, then I think I commend that. That's commendable.
Yeah, especially for somebody who doesn't have that.
Right. That's actually even more outstanding, because some people don't have it, and they need it. So if there's a program or opportunity where they can still get that, I think that's amazing.
And then you know, the other part about this, we're giving a lot of credit to the role and the responsibility of the big brother, but I don't want us to miss the opportunity and the gift of the little sister. There has been so many times, because my sons, when they were dating, and they date at a very intense level, I'll just say that to make it nice. So I would have to redirect them and say, remember, you got little sisters. Remember, that's somebody's sister. And I think that the little sister brings a giftedness and a consciousness on how the brothers interact with women. Like, they have to have accountability, and as a family and as a community, we have to be in their ear about this is somebody's little sister that you're interacting with. Just like how you don't want, I remember my sons would stand up and look twice when I would bring that up, because sometimes they're just young, they get caught up, they get lost, they get distracted, but the reality is that that's somebody's sister. What you put out in the world has a way of coming back to you, and you don't want that to come back to you on your little sister, so you may want to reconsider how you're treating that young lady.
What some thoughts that I had back to that, and because at first when I first started this live, I was really nervous, and my mom is getting real, so I'm like, let me get real and just like let me unload the nervousness off of me and just be real. So my brother mentioned the importance of, like, your experience makes you an expert. Like, because of him experiencing the things that he did, he's knowledgeable in those areas. And although, like, a lot of people say lead by example, but sometimes when you're not in a position to lead by example, you're only living your life to the best of your ability, like what you know. We all have our learning curves and the things that we need to learn and grow from. And so I feel like with my brother, like he mentioned, there were parts of his life that may not have been the best example or him leading by example, but because he did experience that, he's able to, he's not, like my brother never told me, like, don't do this, don't do that, even though he's experienced some things that I shouldn't do, or he doesn't want me to do. Even though I've seen those things, that doesn't mean, like, that his what am I looking for? That doesn't mean that his influence on me is less valuable because he's had experiences that he doesn't want me to also have. Like, that just means that his advice to me is more valuable because he can tell me firsthand, like, I've been through this. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. And as long as you have someone, like, because I know someone mentioned, like, if you don't have a brother but you have a brotherly influence in your life, as long as they're able to tell you from experience, like, this is what happened and this is, like, how I've been able to grow from that, that's so valuable to me. I can care less, like, if my brothers have been through a million different things that may not look like the best example to y'all, or like they're setting a good example to y'all, but to me, I cherish those things because at the end of the day, I learned from them. Like, I'm able to learn from the things that my brothers have been through instead of having to go through them on my own.
Yes.
And then, Juice, if you want to say something back to that, you can. I just want to make sure we're not missing any questions.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you elaborate on that.
Any questions on that?
Yeah. Somebody said, do you believe in not talking to each other is an option due to a disagreement?
Oh, heck no.
So,
brother and sister?
yeah.
No, I don't agree with that. I mean, because anything should be able to have a discussion attached to it. Mm-hmm. You should never get to the point. Once you cut off communication, to cut off communication is very unhealthy. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. If there was no communication, what is that close to? The obvious, you know what I'm saying? So, anything, a situation with no communication is unhealthy, whatever it is. That's my opinion on that.
And I would have to agree with that because it's too often, like you said, no communication is next to the obvious. Like, imagine that moment that you had all those opportunities to speak to a sibling and you didn't, and then the next minute they're not here anymore. Life is too short for that. At the end of the day, like, it's no situation that can there's no situation that's that serious, in my opinion, that will make you disconnect from a sibling when you can just, like, have a conversation. And it may not just be as simple as having a conversation. You may need to heal through some things, because I know a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of that stuff plays into this kind of situation. but I don't think there's any situation too big to try to reconnect with the sibling and have those conversations. And if we have anybody on here who has siblings that they don't talk to often or they don't have a relationship with, I really encourage y'all to pick up the phone and put your pride aside and have those conversations, because at the end of the day, in my opinion, and I think you would agree, it's not worth it.
No. And it's a lot of different types of situations that some of us probably couldn't even imagine that people go through, and there's some severity attached to it. However, I believe every situation deserves and should automatically be up for discussion.
Yeah.
Because words, something taking place at that time that had some dialogue to it, so you can't take dialogue out of the situation. You have to be able to communicate. Mm-hmm. Communication is a necessity in any relationship.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I put something on Facebook not too long ago, and it said something like, at the end of the day, we always, like, we end with family. Like, you might have a bunch of disagreements and things like that, and life may take you a million different routes. You may disconnect from your family at one point, but at the end of the day, I feel like that's what it comes down to. And I know there's people who have different situations where they're not as close to their family and things like that. But for me, what I've had to realize, like, being in Milwaukee, not near my family, really, it gave me a different perspective. And, like, for a minute I was thinking, like, dang, I'm not around my family. I feel alone sometimes. And because of that, I started to think, like, man, like, my value of family kind of shifted in my head, because I'm like, I didn't know how to value it without them being there, because they've always been there. And so I had to shift my thinking and realizing, like, at the end of the day, I don't care how many friends I have, who's out there supporting me. I appreciate y'all 100%. But at the end of the day, nobody's gonna have you like your family has you. And I used to think, like, man, like, family is more of like an obligation. Like, would those people still value, like, would my family still value me if they weren't obligated to? But I started to build, like, a closer relationship with my brother, my mom, and my family, and realize that regardless of the obligation of the title of being family, like, these people love me and they care for me and things like that. So that's like being a college student, being away from family. If any of you ever, like, thought about that, or thinking that, like, your family doesn't value, I challenge you to have conversations with them and find out the value that they have for you.
That's a very, very good point. To touch on something my mother was speaking of earlier when she was talking about the consciousness that's provided by a sister and a daughter, it does make you more conscious, and it does make you more aware. You know, coming up as young men, you just into your thing or whatever, but then when you have siblings, you know, for a lack of a better phrase, you know, you heard it saying, it ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun, right? That means, you know, when the tables is turned, so to speak. How would you feel? You know what I mean? And so that consciousness is like, it is power in that, you know. And to become aware is like a whole new life. That's when you become aware of something comes alive within you, you know what I mean? And new life is just, that's what make the world go around. So that's a good thing. Never claiming claiming perfection, but just to be aware, you know what I mean, is a good, healthy start. And you can really do some good once you're aware, and you know, when you can feel touched by a situation or it hits home, when you can look at a situation as not being egotistical, just you know, tunnel vision. When you come outside of that and you can see things through a different light, I mean, you can do more good in the world, period. Yes. You know, so that's the power of a little sister, you know, a younger sibling that looks up to you and that needs your guidance and can benefit from your experiences and whatnot, and you just want the best for them. So once you have that and you reflect back on some of your situations, you can really provide something for them, you know. None of us is perfect, so you can take your situation and be like, you know, yeah, unfortunately, this is where it was for me over here. But however, I know how it is over here. Stay over here with it. You know what I mean? And then they can keep that ball rolling and help some others, that may not have that, So you're really doing some good when you can provide that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's awesome. So let's take it to the let's
Wait,
let's,
before,
yeah.
because I don't want to forget something.
Yeah.
I want to touch on what he said, because what I got from that was like, when you know better, you do better. And my mom, like, you say that all the time, and like that's what I got from that, because like it wouldn't make sense for you to have learned what you learned and not passed on those learning
That's right.
experiences to me. Like, when you know better, and even if you continue to make the same mistake over and over, or even if you continue to live like, even if you continue to say like, okay, this is what I learned from that, and then you carry on and do whatever you do or whatever, that doesn't mean that learning lesson wasn't valuable to me.
Right.
So that's what I took from that, and I think is very important. What I've gotten from all of my siblings is them being able to, and me as well, being able to share different experiences that I've had, and share how like we can help each other improve.
Yes, I love that. So let's do this exercise, one that I have facilitated for many years. I'm going to ask you guys to respond to each other. What are you most proud of with your brother, and what are you most challenged by your brother? We're going to have some real raw, authentic conversation here, because none of us are perfect. This is not a fairy tale conversation. This is about talking about what can truly heal our families and our communities, because none of us are 100% in any area. So what is it that you're most proud of with your sibling, and what are you most challenged by? An experience, anything. And then I have another follow-up question after that.
Should I get to their questions after this? Or?
Yep, then because they got some good questions coming through here and comments.
All right. What I'm most proud of and what I'm most challenged by. What I'm most proud of, I have to say, is the example of family that you set. From the moment I can remember being around Quita, my sister-in-law, and being around you and the kids, like, really set the tone for me. Like, I always, every time I'm around you, I'm like, goals. Like, I want to have a nice little family, and it just really set a good example for me of what I want my household to be like when I get older. A close-knit family, spend a lot of time together, very supportive. You set a great example of, like, the head of the household, and that's what I strive for as I get older. What I'm most challenged by, I would have to say, is although my brother and I have a close bond, close relationship, like, I know he got my back no matter what when it comes down to it. Like, I know I can call on my brother. I do wish that we talked more sometimes. Like, it would be, I don't know, because we've never, like, talked a lot. Like, we don't necessarily talk every day. And I'm not saying that that's something that needs to happen, but I do wonder what it would be like if we did talk more. Yeah, that's something I think about, but, like, I don't know what that would look like, because we've never had that kind of relationship where we needed to talk all the time. But I would say, when I was younger, not up until a few years ago, I used to, like, envy relationships that my friends had with their brothers, because they were in, like, constant communication with their siblings. But then I realized, like, everybody doesn't have that kind of relationship with their siblings. But at one point I did, like, wonder, like, what would it be like if I did talk to my brothers more?
That's good. Okay. Brother?
One of my most proud things about my sister is her assertiveness and her dedication to her drive. It just amazes me. Her strength is like, it can't be like pinpointed. Like, you just never know. You know what I'm saying? You can miss out if you're not paying attention, but you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? I just think that's amazing. It's really hard to articulate. It's hard to put it into words. I just witnessed something the other day I had shared with her. She's a remarkable young woman, and I just admire that in her in so many ways. I really can't narrow it down to one or two things. Most challenging, I don't really have a lot of challenges when it comes to her. If there's anything, if there's a such thing as that in our case, for me, it would be just, if I could change anything about it, it would be more time spent. More time spent. You know, and even with that, you could want to do something more, but you don't really want to. You don't take it to a level of regret, because seeing how our relationship is, like she said, it's not one of those situations where it's needed. It's because our bond has enough. It's so potent that it really doesn't need constant. You know, I know you guys out there know someone. I don't know if it's a sibling, a friend, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever the relationship is. I know it's someone that you all may come into contact with, and some time go by, and then when you guys come across each other, you pick up as if you guys were just talking 5 minutes ago. Nothing changed. That's kind of how me and my sister's relationship is. You know what I mean? So it's because of how our relationship is. It doesn't require constant. It don't require constant around the clock. The only reason why I would want more of it is because, like she said, it would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see what would come from it, just because how it is, with a little time to go by or whatever. And if it's that tough like that, just imagine how it'd be if we chopped it up all the time, you know. Mm-hmm. But we just go through our lives, you know, taking care of our business individually. You know, I have a big family and a big responsibility, among other things. And she has a very busy life. She has a brand. She's in college, you know. And it is what it is. But it's like we're not missing the beat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's getting better, you know, closer knit, you know. Mm-hmm. Whenever she need me, you know, I would love to be there. And if I ever need her, she'd be there. So it's like it's really all good, you know. It's just one of them situations where you just want to know how good can it actually get. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Good is good, but we know what's better than good. Great, right? So we just want to be great. That's all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's good. You got a lot of comments. I think you're ready.
I'm gonna get to the comments, but I just want to say, like, I don't know if my mom did this on purpose or what. You know, I can get emotional sometimes, but. As I was listening, I was sitting over here and I started getting emotional because I don't even know if I could talk about it without crying.
Your grandpa? Whew. It's okay.
Can you read the comments, please?
Okay.
I just wanted to say, like, I have a close relationship with my brother, but it's more of like an unspoken bond. And just like hearing that he's proud of me just meant a lot to me to hear. Because we talk, but we don't talk as much as we could. So hearing that it just made me emotional. I'm like doing the ugly cry on here. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, my mom's always starting stuff, you know what I'm saying? Nobody want to see their sister crying, so I'm going to act like I don't see her crying. You know. And I am very proud of her. She's very strong. And we just going to keep it going how we keep it going. Yeah, it's just one of them relationships. It's got a lot of magic to it, you know what I mean? And sometimes it is touching, you know. It's really hard to put it into words. You just have to be a part of it to actually feel it and know it, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those type of situations. Good, girl?
Yeah.
All right, what's going on with them comments?
I can't read.
No, you can
and
read.
And I just want to say, like, these conversations
This
are...
woman starts something, now she over there crying, talking about she can't read. No, you go ahead and read the comments.
These conversations are so important, like, so important. And that's, if I take anything from this, it'll be just stressing the importance of having these conversations with your siblings and making sure they know what you're thinking, how you feel, giving them advice and encouragement throughout their journey, because we're all on our different paths and different journeys, but always make the time to have these conversations because it's so important. And like, I just talked to I don't want y'all to think I don't talk to my brother. He just called me the other night and we were talking about the interview I did on Friday. And I got emotional then too, because I was just like he really took out the time, watched my interview, and gave me feedback. And those are things that I value. That's why I'm getting emotional about it, because it's something that I care deeply about. I care what my brothers think. It's important to me. So let me get to some of
Here you
these
go. You can
comments.
leave that. Just leave them on my phone.
Okay.
Easier for you. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes, a whole lot.
Alrighty, so sorry, y'all. I did the ugly cry on here.
Okay.
Family is everything. You are awesome. Your thinking is far beyond your time. Great segment. Family is everything. Thank you so much. Miss Shantina said this is an actual TV show. Beyond powerful. Great work, you all. Thank you so much. Make every effort to keep yourself rooted in faith. Great message, and tip my hat off to you young people. You are doing good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shantina, this is way better than TV. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantina. Hey, Shantina.
Thanks everybody who shared the video so far. I appreciate y'all. I'm not sure if I want y'all to keep sharing these tears, but thank you. Family is everything. I don't talk to my brother every day, but when we talk, it's like we do. Yes, you know you love each other.
I was trying to get you some tissue.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Whoa, I just crashed the whole TV set.
I feel like you guys will naturally gravitate to more time spent with each other. Age plays a big part in that. The age difference will connect. That's a really good point.
Who's that?
My auntie.
Oh, yeah.
You know she always say great
so
stuff in
smart.
the comments.
Hey, baby.
I really admire how functional you are as a family. You communicate so well about your thoughts and feelings. It's nice. It's a nice thing to see. Thank you so much. And as far as like communicating with family, because I know I've seen you watch a couple of our live videos, probably the mother-daughter chat and things like that. A lot of it is things that we had to grow. Like we had to grow and in communication and realize the communication style of each other to be able to have these conversations. It didn't all just happen all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. So for people who have issues with communication within their family, give it some time and just continue to push forward and work on those things. And I've been seeing a lot today, like a lot of people give up right when they're about to make it to that destination or make it to that growth that they're looking for. So keep pushing, and it'll happen. All the girls in our family are crybabies. We get it from our daddy. We definitely do. We definitely do, because I will cry in a second, depending on the conversation. I think I read all the comments. You have any questions, Mom?
Wow, I'm just really blessed to see this exchange and have us be strong enough as a family and transparent enough to be able to share. Because based on my professional journey and my personal journey, I know that this is what families need more of. You know, I've been a practitioner of wholeness and families, and I just want people to know that doesn't mean perfection. Mm-hmm. It just means willing to work, willing to evaluate, willing to look at our families and say, yep, I'll keep this I want no parts of. And that's what we really want this to be for people. So in conclusion, so we can wrap this up, because we appreciate people spending their Sunday evening with Imani and her brand. We want you to know how you can continue to support her work and her journey around helping people to continue on their personal development journey. And tell people your website, and so they can understand when you purchase a naturally beautiful product, you're investing in her not going into a job that's out of alignment. This gives her the financial flexibility to continue to do this community work. Mm-hmm. So I want you guys to know that when we wear naturally products, we are representing our family, our community, because this is what's giving her the capacity. I believe God has called her for a greater purpose. So yes, she could easily go get a 9-to-5 job to support her in college, but I really believe that this is what her calling is, and I appreciate every person that invests in her. So we may have some new viewers, Imani, so you want to, first of all, represent your shirt, let people see it, and then let them know how they can continue to support you by purchasing your shirt.
Absolutely. So, like my mom was saying, my brand is Naturally Beautiful. I'm a college student, and I sell T-shirts and hoodies on my website, as well as provide opportunities and platforms to have more conversations like this. If you get a chance to check out the website, www.naturalebeautiful.com. The word natural, the letter E, beautiful.com. Check out the website. We have a lot of things on there that you can learn from and engage in conversation on the website as well. The hoodies are $35. I have a promotion going on. Hit my inbox up and I'll make sure I get you a coupon. We have t-shirts available, $20, only $20. So check that out and please support the brand. Like my mom said, you're supporting the college student's journey when you support Naturally Beautiful.
Awesome. One tip for the sisters out there, and then from your brother, one tip for the big brothers, and we're gonna close out.
One tip to the sisters. I would say that's hard to think of on the fly.
You can do it though.
One tip for the sisters.
For all the little sisters out there that may have a big brother in the house or not, what's one thing you want that little sister to do?
One tip for the sisters, which I'm going to also take and learn for myself as well, is hold your brothers accountable.
Ooh,
when you see or feel anything that may be out of alignment with the lessons or the messages they are sending you, hold them accountable and remind them, like, hey bro, like you said for me to stay in school or whatever, or you said for me to focus on my passion, focus on my drive. Hold them accountable. I'm gonna hold my brother accountable after this, because we talk all the time, like I said, we have conversations, and he's so freaking brilliant to me. And so I'm gonna hold him accountable after this and make sure we find out some type of way for us to continue these conversations, because y'all need to hear the wisdom that he has. So I'm gonna hold him accountable to making sure he's putting that out there for y'all to hear. But like I said, hold your brothers accountable, and whatever it is that you feel necessary. If there's a lesson that they're teaching you and you want them to make sure they're leading by example or setting the standard for you, do that.
That's what's up, so. For the brothers, one tip I have for the brothers, tips I have for the brothers is to, number one, be present, be positive, and be consistent.
Ooh, that's good.
That's what I have for the tips for the brothers.
I love it. Once again, y'all, thank you. This was so spare of the moment. We didn't prepare for this, because usually when I do these episodes with my mom, we have a whole lesson plan laid out and everything. But literally, my mom was like, do a live today, go live today. I put together a flyer a couple minutes ago, and we made this happen. So I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in last minute. I have some very loyal supporters. I love y'all. Thank you so much. I couldn't say thank you even more. Y'all come say hi. Come say hi. Thank you. My family was watching live too. Look at my baby. This is my baby Karma. This is Buki. Y'all say hey. All right. We checking out. Everybody say peace.
Peace.